Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're an education professional already deep in the trenches of learning assessments, you know exactly how critical it is to have the right tools to identify how a student learns. Today, we're zeroing in on a very specific, highly targeted professional roadmap, the Level 7 Dyscalculia Conversion 1 APEL pathway. We're going to break down exactly what this pathway is, what it takes to get in, what you'll actually be learning, and most importantly, the incredible professional recognition waiting for you at the finish line.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the Conversion 1 pathway, run through the strict entry requirements, break down the course costs and fees, take a look inside Modules 3 and 4, and wrap up with achieving AMBA professional recognition. Let's dive in.
Section 1. The Conversion 1 pathway.
So are you ready to expand your toolkit and formally assess for dyscalculia? Because you know, if you're tuning in, you're likely already a highly skilled professional. You've got dyslexia figured out, but maybe you're seeing those students who really struggle with math, with numbers, or spatial reasoning, and you want the formal, rigorous ability to assess them with that exact same level of confidence. This pathway is your bridge to closing that gap in your assessment practice.
We're talking about the Conversion 1 APEL, which, by the way, stands for Accreditation of Prior Experiential Learning. This is a highly specialized upgrade pathway specifically designed for current Level 7 dyslexia assessors. But, and this is a big but, you also need to have completed an accredited Level 5 course in teaching learners with dyscalculia, and that has to include 20 hours of specialist teaching. Bottom line, this is absolutely not a beginner's course. You are taking your existing Level 7 and Level 5 foundations and fusing them together to become a true dual-threat assessor.
Section 2. Strict entry requirements.
Because this is such an advanced upgrade, the bar for entry is deliberately set high. First off, you've got to be a practicing professional right now, working actively as a teacher, lecturer, or practitioner. You'll also need a degree equivalent to a UK 2.2 or above. Now here's a really interesting part. They look for approximately 1,900 hours of recent education experience. They want people whose theory is firmly rooted in real-world classroom realities. Rounding it out, you need a high level of English and maths, think GCSE equivalent, and of course, your standard disclosure and barring service or DBS clearance. It's a rigorous list for sure, but it guarantees you'll be learning alongside a cohort of incredibly dedicated peers.
Section 3. Course costs and fees.
All right, let's talk numbers. The tuition is broken down into two distinct tiers. For the standard Conversion 1 pathway, the cost is British pounds £22.90. Now, if you're joining from outside the UK, the Overseas Conversion 1 tier is British pounds £25.90. It's a real investment, but remember, this is a career-defining Level 7 qualification that completely broadens your professional scope.
And just to be clear on the logistics, to lock in your place on this highly sought-after pathway, you will need to put down a deposit of British pounds 1,000. Once that's sorted, you are officially ready to get to work.
Section 4. Inside Modules 3 and 4. Your actual coursework kicks off with Module 3, which is all about investigating psychometric testing and report writing. This right here is the rigorous scientific foundation of your new qualification. It goes way beyond just spotting a student who struggles with numbers. It's about diving deep into the heavy theory and practice of psychometrics and educational testing.
So what are you actually doing in this module? Well, first, you'll learn how to pinpoint exactly which psychometric tests to pull from your toolkit for any given learner. Second, you have to master administering those tests flawlessly and deeply analyzing the results. But step 3 is honestly where the magic happens, communicating those findings. You'll navigate the legal and professional nuances of report writing, taking that complex scientific data and translating it into a clear diagnostic report that anyone, like a parent or a general education teacher, can actually understand. You'll even learn how to plan staff development around dyscalculia.
Once you've got the science down, you move right into Module 4, developing own skills and others in your setting. If Module 3 was the pure science, Module 4 is the application. This is where you focus on creating tangible, systemic impacts in your actual workplace.
This module is incredibly hands-on. You're going to learn how to develop specialized reports for the Disabled Student Allowance, the DSA, as well as for workplace settings. You'll master managing access arrangements and all the paperwork that comes with it. Plus, you'll strategize on how to actively create a dyscalculia-friendly environment and build CPD to raise awareness among your colleagues. You'll even dive into the current debates around causality, really understanding the why behind the difficulty so you can better address the how of supporting it.
Of course, you've got to prove you know your stuff. The assessments here are a perfect balance between the two modules. Module 3 is highly clinical. You'll produce 2 full diagnostic assessment reports and write a 2,500-word critical reflection on your assessment process. Module 4, on the other hand, shifts gears toward environmental analysis and advocacy. You'll write 1 more diagnostic report, conduct a full SWOT analysis to build that Dyscalculia-friendly environment, and wrap it all up with a 2,500-word critical reflection analyzing those debates on causality we just talked about. Yeah, it's a tough workload, but it's incredibly rewarding.
Which brings us to Section 5, Achieving Ambienda Professional Recognition. This is the ultimate payoff. By passing this Level 7 course, you earn the right to apply for a highly respected credential, AMBDA Dyscalculia. That stands for Associate Member of the British Dyslexia Association. Now, this status isn't just handed out. Holding it proves you have demonstrated a verifiably high standard of professional competence in both diagnostic assessment and specialist teaching. Graduates can apply directly to the BDA for the status and professional membership. It is literally a massive career milestone.
I want to leave you with a final thought. How will wielding the power to officially diagnose dyscalculia transform your educational setting, and more importantly, the lives of your learners? Think about all those students who might have fallen through the cracks because their struggles with numbers were just misunderstood. By taking this Level 7 Conversion 1 APEL pathway, you aren't just getting another piece of paper. You're gaining the exact tools, the rigorous science, and the professional authority to finally give those students the clarity and support they deserve. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this breakdown was helpful as you consider your next big professional leap.